The system doesn't want you to think. It wants you to react. It wants you to be a biological algorithm, a series of predictable inputs and outputs, navigating a world made of neon signs and digital noise. If you're sitting here, staring at the screen, feeling a strange cold itch beneath your skin, a sensation that something is fundamentally wrong with the rhythm of your life, know that this is not a malfunction. It is the first sign of health. The system has spent decades, perhaps centuries, perfecting a cage that is invisible because it is made of your own desires. It has convinced you that your restlessness is a lack of consumption, that your sadness is a chemical imbalance to be suppressed, and that your existential dread is a sign of failure rather than a call to adventure. We are told to fear the silence, to drown the void in a sea of scrolling, working, and performing. But what if that void is the only honest thing you have left? What if the very things you are running from, the silence, the boredom, the crushing realization of your own mortality, are the only keys that can unlock the door you didn't even know was there? Today, we are going to look into the teeth of the machine. We are going to explore why the system is terrified of a human being who has learned how to be still. We are going to deconstruct the architecture of your own distraction and find the person who is buried under the weight of productivity and social proof. If this resonates, consider subscribing. You feel it when you wake up, don't you? That heavy gray cloud of the to-do list before your eyes even open. You are already behind. The system starts the clock before you've even had a chance to breathe. This is the industrialization of the human soul. We have been turned into resources, not individuals. We speak of human resources as if the very essence of our being is just another fuel to be burned for the maintenance of a structure that doesn't care if we live or die. Think about the way your day is structured. It is a series of compartmentalized boxes. You move from the box where you sleep to the box where you work, fueled by the box of caffeine, staring into the box of light in your hand. This is the mechanical life, a life where spontaneity is a threat and deep thought is a luxury we are told we cannot afford. We are living in a state of chronic anesthesia. We take pills to wake up, pills to sleep, pills to feel less, and pills to feel more. We are so terrified of the raw, jagged edges of reality that we have sanded them down until everything is smooth, plastic, and meaningless. But the cost of this smoothness is your soul. When you remove the possibility of pain, you remove the possibility of depth. When you remove the struggle for meaning, you are left with a hollow shell of existence. We are the most connected generation in history, yet we are dying of loneliness. We have more information than any ancestors, yet we have no wisdom. We are drowning in data and starving for truth. The system proves its fear of your thought every time it offers you a notification. Every ping, every like, every personalized advertisement is a targeted strike against your ability to contemplate. Contemplation is dangerous because contemplation leads to the realization that you are being used. It leads to the realization that your career might just be a slow-motion suicide, and your social status is a performance for people who aren't even watching. We see this most clearly in the way we treat the end of life. We push death into the shadows. We hide the elderly in facilities so we don't have to see the mirror of our own future. We treat aging as a disease to be cured, rather than a harvest to be gathered. And because we hide from death, we never truly live. We live as if we have an infinite amount of time, wasting our days on trivialities, only to reach the final chapter and realize we never even started the book. The regrets of the dying are always the same. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I had let myself be happier. Notice that no one ever says, I wish I had spent more time arguing with strangers on the internet, or I wish I had bought a more expensive car to impress my neighbors. The system survives on the suppression of these realizations until it is too late. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Here is the twist. The one truth that the system cannot allow you to integrate, the emptiness you feel, that void in your chest that you try to fill with shopping, sex, or status, is not the problem. It is the cure. We are taught to view the void as a dark hole, a terrifying abyss that will swallow us whole if we look at it. But the void is actually a clearing. It is the space that remains when all the lies, all the conditioning, and all the borrowed desires of society are stripped away. What you perceive as a crisis is actually a transition of consciousness. Your soul is rejecting the artificial nutrients of the system. It is like a body throwing up poison. It feels violent, it feels painful, and it feels like you are dying. But you aren't dying. You are being born. The anxiety you feel is the tension between who you are and who you are pretending to be. The system wants you to medicate that tension. It wants you to fix the symptom so you can go back to being a productive cog. But the symptom is your guide. It is the internal compass pointing toward the exit of the labyrinth. If you stop running from the void and start inhabiting it, you will find that it isn't empty at all. It is full of the potential energy of your true self. It is the silence that allows you to finally hear your own voice. To understand this, we must look at the giants who walked the abyss before us. Martin Heidegger spoke of the they, the anonymous one that dictates how we should think, what we should value, and how we should live. We say, one doesn't do that, or one should have a stable career. In following the they, we lose our ownness. We become inauthentic. We live in a state of fallenness, scattered across 1,000 distractions, never truly present in our own lives. Heidegger argued that the only thing that can pull us out of this trance is being towards death. When we truly internalize that our time is finite, the trivialities of the system lose their power. The opinions of the they become whispers in a hurricane. Søren Kierkegaard described this as the sickness unto death, the despair of not being oneself. He realized that most people are in despair but don't know it because they are too busy being well adjusted to a sick world. They are lost in the crowd, and the crowd is the place where the individual goes to die. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us that the desert grows. He saw that as our old myths and structures crumbled, we would be left with a nihilism that the system would try to fill with small, petty pleasures. He called this the last man, the one who makes everything small, who seeks only comfort, and who has lost the ability to dream of anything beyond his own security. The system wants you to be the last man. It wants you to be comfortable, well-fed, and utterly dead inside. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Imagine, if you will, the theater of echoes. This is the metaphor for the modern world. You are standing in the center of a grand, ornate hall. All around you are screens and speakers, constantly broadcasting the thoughts, dreams, and desires of other people. You see a vision of a perfect life, and your mind echoes, "I want that." You see a vision of something to be angry about, and your mind echoes, "I hate that." Assure. You are so surrounded by these echoes that you have forgotten what your own voice sounds like. In fact, you have come to believe that the echoes are your voice. You walk through the world thinking you are making choices, but you are really just choosing between the options the theater has provided for you. You're like a prisoner who has been given the freedom to choose the color of his cell walls. But the walls are still there. The system is the architecture of this theater. It is designed to be so loud and so bright that you never look for the exit. It uses the visceral language of your biology against you. It uses dopamine to reward your submission and cortisol to punish your divergence. It makes the mechanical life feel like the only safe option. But outside the theater, there is a forest. It is dark, it is quiet, and it is unpredictable. It doesn't offer you content or security. It only offers you the truth of your own existence. To leave the theater is to accept that you will be alone for a while. You will have to learn how to speak again without the script. We must be careful though, because the system is clever. When it sees people trying to escape, it builds a new wing of the theater called the counterculture. It sells you the aesthetic of rebellion. It gives you mindfulness apps so you can be a more efficient worker. It sells you spiritual retreats that are just another form of consumption. It offers you the dopamine of the different. This is the trap of hedonism and false solutions. You cannot solve an existential crisis with a lifestyle change. You cannot buy your way out of the matrix. If your awakening involves buying more products, it isn't an awakening, it's a rebranding. The system thrives on your attempt to fix your internal void with external things. It loves it when you turn your healing journey into a social media performance. Why? Because as long as you are performing, you are still within the theater. You are still seeking the validation of the they. Vying for the approval of the machine while claiming to hate it is the ultimate form of slavery. The only real way out is to stop the movement, to stop the doing, and embrace the being. The system cannot control a person who wants nothing it has to offer. If you no longer fear being nobody in the eyes of the world, you become a ghost in the machine. You become untouchable. If this resonates, consider subscribing. This leads us to the new paradigm, the life of integrity and authenticity. Living of truth doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you have stopped lying to yourself. It means you have looked at the glass wall between you and reality and realized it was made of your own compliance. Authenticity is not a destination. It is a constant, painful practice of stripping away. It is the courage to say no to things that everyone else is saying yes to, not out of spite, but out of a deep, quiet loyalty to your own soul. It is the realization that your life is not a project to be managed, but a mystery to be lived. When you step into this paradigm, the world looks different. The successes of the system start to look like tragedies. You see the CEO and you don't see power. You see a man who has traded his limited time on earth for numbers on a screen. You see the influencer and you don't see beauty. You see a person who has turned their own identity into a commodity. You begin to value things that have no market value. Silence, deep conversation, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the ability to sit in a room alone and be perfectly content. This is the ultimate rebellion. The system cannot monetize a man who is already satisfied. Now I hear the objections. You might say, but I have bills to pay. I have a family to support. I can't just quit the world. And you are right. This is the gravity of the system. It uses our basic needs as a leash. But notice how your mind immediately jumps to the extreme, either total slavery or total abandonment. This is a classic manipulation tactic of the mind. You don't have to move to a cave to stop being a slave. The shift is internal. You can work the job, but you don't have to be the job. You can use the technology, but you don't have to let the technology use you. The goal is to develop an inner sanctuary, a place within yourself that the system cannot touch, a place where you are the sovereign. This requires a radical detachment. You must learn to see the games of the world as games, rather than as life and death struggles for your identity. If you lose your job, you haven't lost yourself. If people stop liking your posts, you haven't lost your value. This emotional validation is what the system uses to keep you in line. When you validate yourself, when you find your worth in the simple fact of your own conscious existence, the system loses its primary lever. You are in the world, but not of it. You are playing the game, but you know it's a game. That is freedom. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Consider the story of a man named Thomas. Thomas was the perfect citizen of the theater. He was a high-level marketing executive, a man whose entire job was to create desires in others that he didn't even have himself. He had the house, the car, the reputation. He lived in a state of high-speed vibration, always moving, always achieving. One day, while sitting in a board meeting, he looked at the coffee cup in front of him. He saw the steam rising from it, and for a split second, the noise of the room faded away. He realized he had no idea why he was there. He looked at the faces of his colleagues and saw masks. He saw his own life as a series of scripts he had been reading for 40 years. That night, he didn't go home. He drove to a park and sat on a bench for 6 hours. He did nothing. He just sat. The anxiety was overwhelming. His mind screamed at him to check his phone, to call someone, to do something. He felt like he was dissolving. This was his collapse. Mike, over the next year, he lost his job, he lost his status, and many of his friends drifted away. To the world, he was having a breakdown. To Thomas, he was finally waking up. He took a simple job as a gardener. He spent his days with his hands in the dirt. He rediscovered the rhythm of the seasons. He found that the vague sadness he had carried for decades was gone. He wasn't successful anymore, but for the first time in his life, he was real. His story is a warning. The system will call your liberation a failure. It will call your sanity a sickness. But once you have tasted the reality of the forest, the theater no longer has any appeal. We must understand the metaphor of decomposition. For a seed to become a tree, it must first be buried in the dark. It must rot. Its hard outer shell must crack and dissolve. This is what we are going through when we feel the void. We are in the state of decomposition. The ego, the social self that the system built for us, is rotting away. This is a beautiful, sacred process, but it feels like death. We live in a culture that only celebrates the bloom. We want the success, the clarity, the best version of ourselves, without the messy, dark, silent process of the underground. But without the rot, there is no growth. You must allow yourself to decompose. You must let the you that you were told to be die, so that the you that you actually are can emerge. The void is not a hole. It is the soil. It is rich. It is dark. And it is the only place where something authentic can take root. The system wants to keep you as a cut flower, bright, pretty, and dead. It wants you to stay in the vase of social approval, where you will slowly wilt while looking perfect. To choose the void is to choose to be a wild plant. You may not look as perfect, you may be covered in dirt, but you have roots. You are connected to the source. If this resonates, consider subscribing. So, how do we practice this? How do we live this out in the real world? The first instruction is to inhabit the void daily. Set aside time where you do absolutely nothing. No music, no books, no scrolling. Just sit. Watch your mind try to escape. Watch the panic arise. This is the system's programming, trying to re-engage the gears. Don't fight it, just watch it. When you become the observer of your own restlessness, you are no longer the restlessness. You are the consciousness that sees it. This is the crack in the prison wall. Second, recognize the conditioning. Start asking yourself of every desire, is this mine, or was it given to me? When you want that new gadget, that promotion, that aesthetic life, ask who benefits if you get it. If the answer is the system, then it probably isn't your desire. It's a borrowed one. Third, stop fleeing. When the existential dread hits, when you feel the weight of your own mortality, lean into it. Say yes to the fear. Use it as a lens to see what is actually important. Death is the greatest teacher of priority. If you were going to die in 1 year, would you care about the things that are stressing you out right now? If the answer is no, then stop giving them your life force. You are a finite being in an infinite universe. Act accordingly. The system proves it doesn't want you to think because it knows that thought is the beginning of the end for its control. If you think, you might realize that you don't need to be more to be enough. If you think, you might realize that the future the system promises you is a mirage that will always stay 10 miles ahead of you. If you think, you might start to value your own peace over their profit. The crisis you are feeling, the boredom, the emptiness, the sense of being lost, is the system's power over you breaking. It is the moment the machine loses the signal. You are not broken. You are becoming too large for the cage. The problem is actually the beginning of your liberation. The system wants you to think you are a victim of your own mind, but you are actually a pioneer of your own soul. You are rediscovering what it means to be a human being in an age of machines. You are choosing the jagged, beautiful, terrifying path of the individual over the smooth, dead-end road of the crowd. We started by talking about how the system proves every day that it doesn't want you to think. It proves it with every distraction, every false choice, and every fear it manufactures. But today, you chose to look past it. You chose to sit with these ideas, to feel the weight of these truths. That act alone is a victory. It is a sign that the spark hasn't been extinguished. The theater is still there. The echoes are still loud. But you are different now. You know that there is an outside. You know that the void is your friend. You know that death is your advisor. You are no longer a resource. You are a presence. You are no longer a consumer. You are a creator of your own meaning. Carry this silence with you as you walk back into the noise. Protect it. Nurture it. It is the most valuable thing you own. The system will try to take it back. It will try to fill your head with new problems and new solutions. But you know better now. You have seen the architecture. You have felt the forest air. And once you have felt that, the theater can never truly hold you again. The system proves it doesn't want you to think, because it knows that once you truly do, you are already gone. Remember that the path of the soul is a lonely one, but it is the only one that leads home. You will be told that you are being unproductive, that you are falling behind, that you are losing touch. Let them say it. The they will always fear the one who is no longer under their spell. Your life is not a commodity. Your attention is not a product. Your soul is not a market. You are the witness of the universe, and your only job is to be here, fully, honestly, and without apology. The void is not the end. It is the beginning of everything. If you are willing to lose everything the system gave you, you will finally find everything that was always yours. The system provides the noise, but you provide the silence. The system provides the script, but you provide the voice. The system provides the cage, but you provide the exit. It is not enough to simply know these things. You must live them. You must make the choices that align with the truth you have discovered. It will be hard. It will be uncomfortable. You will doubt yourself 1,000 times, but on the other side of that doubt is a life that is actually yours. A life that doesn't need to be proved to anyone. A life that is lived from the inside out. That is the only life worth having. The system is terrified that you will realize this. It is terrified that you will stop looking at the screen and start looking at the world. It is terrified that you will stop being a consumer and start being a human. And it should be, because a human who has learned to think for themselves is the only thing that has ever changed the world. As you step away from this moment, don't look for a new system to join. Don't look for a new guru to follow. Look at the space between your own thoughts. Look at the quiet moments of your day. That is where your freedom lives. The system will continue to prove itself. It will continue to scream for your attention. But you have the power to simply say no. You have the power to walk away from the theater and into the forest. It has always been your choice. It will always be your choice. The only question is, are you brave enough to be still? Are you brave enough to listen? The silence is waiting. Your life is waiting. Don't let the machine steal another second of it. The time of being a cog is over. The time of being a soul has begun. The system doesn't want you to think, but you have already started. And once the mind has been stretched by a new idea, it can never return to its original dimensions. You are no longer the person who started this script. You are someone who has looked into the abyss and realized it was a mirror. You are someone who has seen the regrets of the future and decided to change the present. You are free, not because the system let you go, but because you realized it never truly had you in the first place. Go now and be the silence in a world of noise. Be the truth in a world of echoes. Be the one who stayed awake when everyone else was dreaming. This is the end of the mechanical life. This is the birth of the human life. It is messy, it is uncertain, and it is the most beautiful thing you will ever experience. Don't look back at the theater. Don't miss the comfort of the cage. The forest is vast, and you have much to discover. This is your life. This is your time. This is your awakening. If this resonates, consider subscribing. The system spent your whole life trying to build a wall between you and yourself. But today, you found a crack. And through that crack, the light is coming in. Don't try to patch it up. Don't try to hide from it. Let the light burn away everything that isn't you. Let it illuminate the path. You are not a ghost in the machine. You are the one the machine was built to hide. But the machine is failing. The walls are crumbling, and you are finally, truly waking up. The weight of the system is the weight of a shadow. It only exists as long as you refuse to turn on the light. You have been carrying the burden of an entire civilization on your shoulders. trying to meet standards that were designed to make you fail so that you would keep buying the remedy. You have been running a race on a treadmill, wondering why the scenery never changes, but you can step off at any time. You can stop the movement. You can look at the machine and see it for what it is, a desperate attempt to organize the chaos of existence into something profitable. But your existence is not a profit margin. Your existence is an explosion of consciousness in a silent universe. It is a miracle that the system tries to domesticate every single day. Do not let it. Do not let your fire be turned into a pilot light for someone else's factory. Keep your fire wild. Keep your thoughts dangerous. Keep your soul unreachable. The world will tell you that you are overthinking. It will tell you that you should just be happy. But happiness in a cage is just a well-fed form of despair. True joy is found in the struggle for authenticity. It is found in the moments when you stand in your own truth, even if you are standing alone. The system fears the lonely person, because the lonely person is the only one who cannot be threatened with social exclusion. When you are comfortable with your own company, you have removed the system's most powerful weapon. You have become a sovereign entity. This is what it means to truly think. It means to be the master of your own internal landscape. It means to be the architect of your own values. It means to be the one who decides what success looks like and what life feels like. We think of the Matrix as a science fiction concept, but it is a psychological reality. It is the layer of interpretation that we place between ourselves and the world. It is the set of beliefs, biases, and fears that the system has installed in our minds since the moment we were born. To think is to begin the process of uninstallation. It is to look at your beliefs and ask, is this true, or was I just told this? It is to look at your fears and ask, is this a real danger, or is it just a fence to keep me in the pasture? This is the work of a lifetime. It is not a single red pill moment. It is 1,000 small choices made every day to prioritize reality over illusion. It is the choice to feel the pain of the truth rather than the comfort of the lie. It is the choice to be a real human being in a world of plastic substitutes. If this resonates, consider subscribing. The system is a ghost that only has power as long as you believe in it. It is a collective hallucination that we all agree to participate in because we are afraid of the alternative. But the alternative is just life. Pure, unadulterated, raw life. It is the wind in the trees, the blood in your veins, the silence of the stars. It is the feeling of being alive without a reason. We are so used to having a reason for everything, a goal, a purpose, a paycheck, that we have forgotten how to just be. We have forgotten that our value is inherent, not earned. The system wants you to earn your right to exist. It wants you to prove your worth through your productivity. But your worth was established the moment you were born. You don't owe the system anything. You don't owe the world a version of yourself that it finds convenient. You only owe yourself the truth. Think of the way a river flows. It doesn't have a to-do list. It doesn't check its notifications. It just moves toward the sea, overcoming every obstacle by simply being itself. It doesn't try to be a successful river. It just is a river. We are the only creatures on earth who try to be something other than what we are. We are the only ones who can be talked into hating our own nature. The system is the voice that tells you that your nature is not enough. It is the voice that tells you that you need to be optimized. But you are not a computer. You are a river. You are a force of nature. And when you stop trying to optimize yourself and start allowing yourself to flow, you will find that the obstacles of the system don't need to be fought. They just need to be bypassed. The regrets of the dying are the final proof that the system is a liar. At the end, no one regrets not being more productive. They regret not being more themselves. They regret the masks they wore. They regret the words they didn't say. They regret the time they gave away to things that didn't matter. You have the incredible privilege of knowing this. While you still have time, you have the opportunity to live a life that you won't regret. But to do that, you have to be willing to be wrong in the eyes of the system. You have to be willing to be unsuccessful by their standards. You have to be willing to be the person who thinks too much, Because in a world that is designed to keep you from thinking, the only way to live is to think until the walls come down. The system doesn't want you to think because thought is the seed of revolution. Not a revolution of streets and slogans, but a revolution of the heart. A revolution where the individual refuses to be a commodity. A revolution where the soul refuses to be a resource. A revolution where we look at each other not as users or competitors, but as fellow travelers in the dark. This is the revolution that the system cannot stop, because it happens one person at a time in the quietest corners of the mind. It happens every time someone chooses silence over noise, depth over surface, and truth over convenience. It happens every time you decide that your life is too precious to be spent in a theater of echoes. We are coming to the end of our time together, but this is not the end of the conversation. The conversation continues in your own mind, in your own heart, and in the way you choose to spend your next hour. The system is already waiting for you to finish this. It is already preparing the next distraction, the next fear, the next thing for you to need. But you have a secret now. You have the silence. You have the void. You have the knowledge that the machine is hollow. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to scream at it. You just have to stop feeding it with your attention. You just have to turn inward and find the person who was there before the theater was built. If this resonates, consider subscribing. The philosophy of the abyss is not a philosophy of despair. It is a philosophy of ultimate freedom. When you realize that the system has no real authority over your soul, you are free to live however you choose. You are free to fail, free to wander, free to be nothing. And in that nothingness, you will find everything. You will find the raw materials of a real life. You will find the courage to be honest. You will find the capacity to love without ownership. You will find the ability to face death without terror. This is the gift of deep thought. This is the reward for facing the void. It is the transition from a mechanical existence to a conscious one. The system will never stop trying to prove that it knows what's best for you. It will never stop trying to sell you a version of yourself that it can control. But you have seen the proof of its fear. You have seen that its power is entirely dependent on your refusal to think. And so, the greatest act of defiance you can perform is to simply keep thinking, to keep questioning, to keep being still, to keep being you. The theater is grand, but the forest is infinite. The echoes are loud, but the silence is deep. The cage is strong, but the door is open. The system doesn't want you to think, and it proves it every day. But today, you prove something too. You proved that you are still in there. You proved that the machine hasn't won. You proved that the truth is still more attractive than the lie. Stay in that truth. Dwell in that silence. Walk in that forest. Your life is waiting for you, just beyond the edge of the theater. Don't keep it waiting any longer. The void is not a hole. It is a doorway, and you are already standing on the threshold. If you are still here, it is because you have recognized the sound of your own voice in the midst of the echoes. It is because you have felt the gravity of your own soul pulling you away from the machine. This is the most important journey you will ever take. It is the journey from what you are to who you are. It is the journey from being a character in someone else's script to being the author of your own existence. The system will not help you. The world will not applaud you. But the stars will recognize you. The silence will welcome you, and the truth will finally, at long last, set you free. The mechanical life is a slow death. The conscious life is a constant birth. Choose birth every day, every hour, every breath. Choose to be the one who thinks. Choose to be the one who feels. Choose to be the one who lives. The system is a lie, but you are real, and that is the only proof you will ever need. Character is not what you do when the world is watching. It is what you do when the system is screaming for your attention, and you choose to listen to the silence instead. It is the quiet integrity of a soul that has found its own center. It is the strength of a mind that has learned to see through the illusions of the age. This is the goal of psychology, the goal of philosophy, and the goal of life itself. To become a whole human being in a fragmented world. To become a source of light in a room full of screens. You are the architect of this transformation. You are the alchemist of your own void. Don't be afraid of the loneliness that comes with this realization. It is a sacred loneliness. It is the loneliness of the mountaintop, where the air is thin but the view is clear. It is the loneliness of the pioneer who has left the safety of the colony to find a new world. You are not alone in your loneliness. You are part of a hidden lineage of seekers, thinkers, and rebels who have always known that the theater was a sham. We are all out here in the forest, in the silence, waiting for each other. We are the ones who refuse to be cogs. We are the ones who chose to think. If this resonates, consider subscribing. The system will tell you that the void is a place of darkness, but it is actually the place where the light comes from. In the deep psychology of the soul, the shadow is not something to be feared, but something to be integrated. The void is your shadow. It is the part of you that the system couldn't colonize. It is the part of you that is still wild, still free, and still connected to the infinite. When you embrace the void, you are reclaiming your power. You are saying to the system, you can have my labor, you can have my data, you can have my taxes, but you cannot have me. This is the ultimate victory. It is a victory that happens in the heart, and it is a victory that no one can ever take away from you. As you close this script and return to the real world, remember that reality is not what you see on the news or on your feed. Reality is the immediate experience of being alive. It is the weight of your body on the chair. It is the sound of your own breathing. It is the mystery of the person standing next to you. The system wants to pull you out of this reality and into its abstraction. It wants to keep you in the world of concepts and categories, but the truth is always found in the concrete, the immediate and the silent. Stay there as long as you can. Return there as often as you can. That is where you will find the strength to keep thinking. That is where you will find the wisdom to keep living. The system doesn't want you to think, and it proves it every day, but you are thinking now, and that is enough. That is everything. The walls are still there, but they are no longer solid. The theater is still there, but the lights are dimming. The forest is still there, and it is calling your name. It is time to go. It is time to be. It is time to live. The regrets of the end of life are nothing more than the realization that we lived as if we were immortal in a system that treated us as if we were disposable. Let us reverse that. Let us live as if we are mortal in a world that is eternal. Let us treat ourselves as if we are precious in a system that is disposable. Let us turn the hierarchy of the machine on its head. Let us be the ones who remembered what it meant to be human when the world was trying its best to make us forget. This is your life. It is not a dress rehearsal. It is not a simulation. It is the only one you get. Don't spend it in a theater of echoes. Don't spend it running on a treadmill. Spend it in the void. Spend it in the truth. Spend it in the silence. The system will never understand you, but the universe will. And in the end, that is the only thing that matters. If this resonates, consider subscribing. We look back at the giants, Nietzsche, Heidegger, Camus, and we realize they weren't just writing books. They were leaving breadcrumbs for us to find our way out of the same theater they were trapped in. They were screaming across time, telling us that the void is the only honest place to be. They were warning us that the they would try to swallow us whole. And here we are, decades later, facing the same machine, just with better graphics and faster processors. But the soul hasn't changed. The void hasn't changed. The exit hasn't changed. You are part of that lineage now. You're part of the great conversation. You are one of the ones who chose to look into the teeth of the machine and refuse its bite. The system doesn't want you to think because it knows that thinking is the first step toward walking away. And walking away is the only way to arrive at yourself. The journey is long, the forest is dark, and the path is uncertain. But it is your path, and it is the only path that leads to the truth. Stop looking for a sign. You are the sign. Stop looking for a guide. You are the guide. Stop looking for a reason. You are the reason. The system is a ghost, the theater is a dream, and the silence is the only thing that is real. Wake up, look around, and start walking. The forest is waiting for you. The system doesn't want you to think, and it proves it every day. But you are thinking now, and that is the end of the machine.